Welcome to episode 1 of Learning High School Math with Landon. I'm Landon Pitts, I'm your host, and today we are starting with pre-algebra. Although this might not be the starting high school path for everyone, it may be the starting high school math for people who struggle with math. Now, I won't call people out, we'll get started. Each episode will go through all these units, and eventually we will review everything with a course challenge. Our first episode will go over factors and multiples. Let's get started. If you want to follow along, then feel free to use Khan Academy with me. Let's begin. So, first thing. Complete the table and find all the factor pairs of 30. So, we have the first factor, so we have to understand factor pairs. So, it looks like we are given that 2 and 15 are a factor pair, 3 in blank, and this in blank. So, what this means is that we are taking a given number, so this one right here, and we are dividing it by itself. So, we have 30 over 30, because our main number, so let's just represent this number as x. And then we have these numbers, which will represent them as y. For these types of problems, we use the formula x over y, which is just the main factor pair of this one over the factors. So for example, this first one we're trying to solve right here. So we have 30 over 30. That's equal to 1. So, and you can always pause if you want to answer these problems. So 1 should be this one. And I'll just show you how this works. See, we're given that it's 2 and 15, so let's break it down. We have 30 over 15, and that's equal to 2. As we can see, that's the same thing here. Now we do the exact same thing. First factor and second factor, it doesn't matter. We're still having 30, always up here. So we'll put 3 here, and that's equal to 10. So that will be 10. And then 6 divided by 6, it's 5. So, with this in mind, we're basically just finding another number to multiply to 30. So 1 times 30 is 30, 2 times 15 is 30, 3 times 10 is 30, and 5 times 6 is 30. We can view it step by step, and yes, it's the exact same one. So, if you didn't get that one, there are videos right here. Or, if you want questions, feel free to ask. Great work. Let's move on to the next problem. A rectangle has an area of 81 square centimeters. Which of the following could be the rectangle's length and width? So we are given that the area of a rectangle is length times width. So if we know the area is 81, we can plug and chug that into the area. So the area will be 81. And now we want to find length and width. So, given our choices, we need to find two numbers that will multiply to 81. So, we'll take our choices, and then we'll plug it in. So, first choice A, 1 and 81. So, 1 times 81, that is equal to 81. And that is equal to 81. So, this was correct. Choice B, 3 and 27. So we have 3 and 27 here. And will that be equal to 81? Not 21, 81. Yep, it will. Because we have 27 plus 27 plus 27. It can be a little hard to view it at first, but you just take 60, and then you add 21 after doing all the math. And you break it down. Choice C, 7 and 12. So we have 7 and 12 here. And so we have 7. We have 70 plus 14. This is just distributive property. 84. This will not be our answer. Choice C. No, not C. D. 9 times 9. That's equal to 81. And that works here. So our answers are A, B, and D. Good job if you got that. If you didn't, erase this. There's the videos. But if you got it, happy studying. And if you need help, you can always ask me in the comments. We're going to look at a step-by-step situation. And yep, we can use rectangles to find the area. Okay, next problem. Which of the facting are factor pairs for 66? So, in other words, what two numbers multiply to 66? Choice A, 1 and 66. That is equal to 66. So, that one's correct. What about 2 and 33? That's equal to 66. Very good. This one's also correct. 3 and 22. Is that one equal to 36? Yep. That one is equal to 66. 4 and 16. That's equal to... It's equal to 64. That's not 66. Choice E, 6 and 11. Is this equal to 66? Yep, this is equal to 66. So the answers are A, B, C, and D. Not D, E. Good job if you got that. Here's a step-by-step situation. Yep. Multiply each number, and we got 64. If you got that, great job. If you didn't, the videos. But otherwise, happy studying. Okay, next problem. A group of 24 friends is making teams to play tag. Every player must be on a team, and each team must have the same number of players. Use what you know about factor pairs to complete the table. Now, generally, it's good to know that they're making teams to play tag, but honestly, it's good to know, but the only thing that will be useful here is the numbers. So, it says 24. Given that we have this, we're going to know that we're going to have a factor of 24. So, in other words, we have to figure out 24 over, what was the formula again? Yeah, over y, and y is equal to these things. So, in other words, we can star this thing, and then we can do it over the first one, 2. 24 over 2 is 12. So, that'll be our first one. Over 8, it is 3. And then the last one, 24 over 4 is 6. So 12, 3, and 6 are the answers. 12, 3, and 6. If you got that, great job. If you didn't, don't like that thing. Videos. Otherwise, happy studying. And you can ask me. Complete the table to find all the factor pairs of 45. So, same idea. In other words, what two numbers should we use to get 45? So, we'll start this. We have the first one over 1, and anything divided by 1 is itself, right? So, this will be 45. So, we'll mark that. Now we have 15 equals 3. So, we have 3. Feel free to use a calculator. I encourage it. And then 45 over 5. That's equal to 9. So our answers here must be 45, 3, and 9. So 45, 3, and 9. Good job if you got that. If you didn't, videos. Otherwise, happy studying. Okay, next problem. A rectangle has an area of 21 square centimeters. Which of the following could be the rectangle's length and width? Okay, so same idea here. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to 21. So we want 21, so we have an area of 21, so we'll plug and chug, equals length times width. And notice how I'm doing LW because it can be interchangeable between L times this, L this, L this. It really doesn't matter. For this tutorial, I will use that. So, choice A, 1 and 21. So, will this be equal to 21? Yep, any number times itself is just itself. And since we have two 21s, A is going to be one of our answers. So, next up, we have 2 and 11. So, 2 and 11, what will that be equal to? 22, yeah. So, but is that equal to 21? Nope, it's not. So, B's out. 3 and 7, will that be equal to 21? Yeah, that will. So, that means C is correct as well. And then 4 and 6 is 24. Good. But is that equal to 21? Nope. So our answers here are A and C. If you got that, great. If you didn't, videos. Otherwise, happy studying. Okay, last problem for factor pairs. Which of the following are factor pairs for 26? So, same idea. So, in other words, what two numbers multiply to 26? So, 1 and 26. What is that equal to? 26. So, that's one of our pairs. So, that means A is one of our answers. Choice B, 2 and 13. Will this be one of ours? Yep, it will. So, 26 is also one of our answers. Choice C, 3 and 12. Will this be one of ours? It equals 36, but that's not 26. C is out. Choice D, 4 and 6. Will this be one of ours? It equals 24, but it's not 26. Choice E, 5 and 5. Will this be one of ours? Nope, this will equal 25. So our answers here are A and B. If you got that, great. If you didn't, videos. Otherwise, happy studying. Okay, so, good, we got that done. Okay, let's move on to our next one, which is finding factories. Okay, yeah, we're not listening to that. I'll just teach it myself. Unless you need the videos, of course. Okay, which equation shows that 6 is a factor of 18? So here, we're looking for a factor. So what does this mean? It means that we need to look for a correct way that 6 can equal to 18, which means that we must be either using multiplication or division. We can immediately get rid of D because it does not demonstrate that. So we have 3 choices left. We also need to understand that the choice has to be correct. What is 6 times 12? It's 72, which is not equal to 18. This is wrong as well. The only answers that will work here are A and B. So that's the trick. Eliminate all answers that are multiplication and division, and make sure that they are correct. That's the only 2 things you need to know. Like, you probably don't even need to read the equation, but I guess it's good just to find out the context. But anyways, let's guess. Oh, that's my fault. Oh, this is 18 times 3. I thought that was divided. Okay, never mind. Yeah, maybe you should be careful. Okay, so this is B. Yeah, that's my fault. This is also incorrect. Yeah, it's B. Alright, yeah, that's my bad, sorry. Okay, if you got that good, if you didn't, videos, otherwise, happy studying. Alright, let's see if we can try this again. That was embarrassing. Okay, list all the factors of 56. So my strategy here is to just go for the choices, and if there is a factor. So first off, factors have to be 56 or lower. We can immediately eliminate answer C because it has 112, which is way too big. And now we have A and B. So now we have to decide, 56 over 1. Is that a whole number? Yeah. 56 over 2. Yep, that's a whole number. 56 over 3. Is this a whole number? I don't think this is a whole number. If I try to plug in 22, which is the next lowest number, oh wait, I don't have a calculator, oh, this is embarrassing. Okay. I don't think 3 is a factor. So if 3 is not a factor of 56, we can instantly eliminate answer A and C. B must be our only answer here. If you got that, great job. If you didn't, videos. If not, happy studying. Okay, next problem. Which of the following numbers is a factor of 78? Okay, let's plug and chuck. 78 over 7. Is this a factor? Nope, this isn't a factor. We can eliminate A. What about 4? Nope, this isn't a factor either. What about 6? Yeah, hey, how about that? That's a factor. That equals 13. I think we can get rid of the rest. If we only want one answer, that must be it. If you got that, great job. If you didn't, videos, you can always ask me for help.
Landon, what are you doing?
I'm recording a video. Otherwise, happy studying. Which equation shows that 5 is a factor of 45? So again, we want to make sure that we're either using multiplication or division. We want to make sure that it is correct. That's the only two things we know. C and D use subtraction and addition, so that wouldn't work. And although this is correct, it doesn't really demonstrate how it is. This is the only correct answer. So, it's B. If you got that correct, good job. If you didn't, here's the videos right here. Otherwise, happy studying. You can always ask me for help, etc. List all the factors of 24. So immediately I could cross out this one because these would be if we were talking about 24 going up. But in this case, that's not what we're looking for. Now, can we find an obvious number that isn't a factor of 24? I'm looking at the number 10 here. Does 10 go into 24? No, it gives us 2.4, which isn't a whole number. We can eliminate A as well. B must be our only answer. If you got that one right, good job. If you didn't, here's the videos. Otherwise, happy studying. Okay, next problem. Which of the following numbers is a factor of 49? Choice A. Is the 7 going to 49? Hey, how about that? It does. We don't even have to do the rest. We already found our answer. If you got that right, good job. If you didn't, videos. Otherwise, happy studying. And remember, you can always pause if you want to. Like, if you want to do this one. So, yeah, just go ahead and pause, and then we'll go over it. Alright, again, multiplication and division. That is mandatory. And we need it to be correct. So we can immediately eliminate these two. And this does not show anything of a factor. B is our only correct answer here. And if you got that one right, good job. If you didn't, videos. Otherwise, happy studying. Very good. We are done with that one. Okay, next one. Relate factors and multiples. We know following statements are also true. So, we want to take a look. We want to understand that we're looking for two answers here. Which means that if we eliminate one of these answers, we'll know the other ones are correct. So what's a multiple? A multiple is basically the opposite of a factor. So 40 is a multiple of 5, and 40 is a multiple of 8. So we know that 5 is a factor of 40 because 5 goes into 40, and 8 goes into 40, because here these are both in the same equation, which means that they are guaranteed to be correct. So, just like I said, the factors are the multiples. So, 40 is a multiple of 8 and 5. So, yeah, it's the exact opposite. So, if you got that great. If you didn't, here are the videos. Otherwise, happy studying. Okay, next problem. Kieran tried to shade all the multiples of 3 on a 100 chart, but he made a mistake. What mistake did Kieran make? Okay, so let's check out what they could have done. So let's see here. So we have 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54. Hey, wait a minute. Wouldn't 3 and 6 be obvious multiples? It looks like she added 9. Because take a look at this pattern. It's going in a straight diagonal line. And since we have 10, we go backward 1. Because if we were going 10, it's this. If we were going 9, it's this. So I'm pretty sure she did multiples of 9 instead of 3. Now sometimes it can look obvious, but another time you just have to be careful. So, and also it's the factors. So anyways, Karen shaded the multiples of 9 instead of the multiples of 3. Hey, how about that? That matches my claim. We see all the multiples of 9 on this chart going over here. And yeah, I think this is correct. So yep, there's all that. All the explanations. So here's all that. And these are the multiples of 3. Because now it goes in the same pattern. It goes like this. But this time, it goes in a pattern where these numbers are divided separately, whereas these are kind of in a straight zebra type formation. So they go on forever, no one can list them all. That is true. That's absolutely true. They go on forever. There's no limit in math. So what does this mean about the multiples of 9, given that we are given this? Yeah, the multiples of 9 will go on forever, because this goes for all multiples, by the way. No matter what the multiples could be, they will go on forever. But anyways, if you got that right, good job. If you didn't, videos. Otherwise, happy studying. Okay, next problem. What set of numbers are shaded on the 100 chart? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12, 18, and 36. Okay, well, let's see what we're getting here. So maybe we could plug in what we could. Well, let's take a look at this. We have a maximum of 36. So we know it's not going to be multiples of 36. Because no, not multiples, the factors. Or man. So, first off, we know it's not going to 72. So, we can eliminate that. Because even if it was going to 72, 72 would also have to be included. And it's not the multiples, because the multiples, again, are the exact opposite of 36. The answer is A, only all the factors of 36, because all of these numbers go into 36. So, boom. So, yep, we got the factors of 36. If you got that right, good job. If you didn't, videos. Otherwise, happy studying. Okay, next problem. We know 5 times 4 is 20, so which of the following statements are also true? 5 is multiple of 20, 20 is multiple of 4, 5 is factor of 20. So we have to pick two answers here, and we need to find the answer that is false. Choice A, 5 is a multiple of 20. So no, it's the other way around, because it would be 20 is a multiple of 5. So remember, if a number that is smaller than the number in between, so 5 is less than 20, you learn in primary school. So if they say it's a multiple, then it's just instantly wrong, even if it could be, because 5 is less than 20, so that's immediately wrong. B and C are correct. If we wanted to, we can check. 20 is a multiple of 4, that's correct, because 4 goes into 20. It's the multiple is the opposite of a factor. And 5 is a factor of 20, this is a correction of A, so these are correct. Here's the explanation. If you got that right, good job. If not, here are videos. Otherwise, happy studying. We're doing great. Let's move on. Okay. Scarlett tried to shade all the factors of 15 on the 100 chart, but she made a mistake. What mistake did Scarlett make? So, let's see here. Factors of 15. Hang on a minute. Wouldn't 3 and 5 and 1 be obvious factors? There's no numbers that are less than 15 here. And it looks like all the numbers are bigger than 15. So we know it's not factors. So if it talks about factors, it's wrong. We're talking about the multiples because it's the opposite of a factor. Because 30 goes into 15, 45 goes into 15, 60 goes into 15, 75, 90, etc. A is correct. So here's the step-by-step solution. If you got that right, great job. If you didn't, here's the videos. Otherwise, happy studying. Okay, what set of numbers are shaded on the 100 chart? Let's see, we got 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 54. Hey, I'm seeing another pattern here. Looks like we got like an L shape. If you play chess, you would know that this is how the knight moves. But it seems we're getting this exact same pattern, but we are doing it in math now. So it looks like we are seeing multiples of 8 because it keeps going up by 8. So it's not factors, and it wouldn't be factors or multiples of 4 because 4 would be included. And it wouldn't be factors either because then 1 would be included. So D is our best answer because it's the multiples of 8. It's going up. Here's the step-by-step solution. If you got that right, good job. If not, here are the videos. Otherwise, happy studying. We know 5 times 3 is 15, so which of the following statements are also true? So, let's see here. Immediately we can cross out this thing because remember, a lower number is not a multiple of a higher number. So anyways, if we know, so both of these are true. So, oh wait, two answers? Oh, I'm stupid. Okay, so yes, so that's immediately out. These are correct. So here's the explanation. If you got that right, good job. Videos. Otherwise, happy studying. Okay, so that's the end of that one. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Identify multiples. Which equation best shows that 55 is a multiple of 11? So we're having the exact same idea from the last unit. Since we're looking for a multiple, we need it to be A, multiplication or division, and B has to be correct. So these are out because they're addition and subtraction, and 11 divided by 55 is not 5. It's 1 over 5. This is wrong as well. A is our best answer. Explanation. Videos. If you got that wrong. Otherwise, happy studying. Alrighty then. Which of the following numbers is the multiple of 5? Choose one answer. Okay, so we need to figure out which one of these numbers goes into 5. Now, any number that goes into 5, it doesn't matter what the tens place is. The ones place must either have a 5 or a 0. That's a common rule. So, the only answer that I'm seeing with a 5 or 0 is 65. So, the answer is B. Which of the following shows only multiples of 8? So, if it's multiples of 8, it has to be bigger than 8. So, x must be bigger than 8. And A and B do not demonstrate that. So, our answer here must be C. If you got that right, good job. All those videos, otherwise, happy studying. Which equation best shows that 30 is a multiple of 10? So, one of our principles, multiplication or division, has to be correct. So, okay, D is incorrect. Ooh, here's the good thing. All of these are correct. Now, here's the thing if all... Oh, wait, no, this is wrong. That's my mistake. Here's the thing, though. Both of the A and B are both correct. The question is, how do we get our answer? Well, we're talking about 30 and 10, right? And this one talks about 300, which is completely off topic of what we're trying to accomplish. B is our best answer because we're talking about 30 and 10, and it's correct. So, B is our answer. If you got that correct, good job. If not, here's the videos. Otherwise, happy studying. Very good. Okay, now let's go over this quiz, and let's just see how we are doing so far. So, I'll give you guys some time to pause, and then I will give the answer. So, go ahead, and if you feel free to pause the video right now and give it a shot. The answer is C. If you got that right, good job. The answer is B. If you got that right, good job. The answer is C. If you got that right, good job. The answer is B. If you got that right, good job. The answer is B. If you got that right, good job. If you got all those questions correct, then great job. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Identify prime numbers. So this one might be a little new, so I'll explain. Prime numbers are numbers that cannot be divided by any other numbers other than itself or another number. So for example, 7 is a prime number. Okay, so prime. So this is a star. I'm going to prime this. So this means that if it is divided by like 3 or 2 or 7 or whatever, it'll always turn out as a decimal. So the only way it can be a whole number is if it's divided by itself, in this case 7, or 1. That's the only way it can be divided. So what we're trying to do when we're trying to figure out prime numbers, we have to eliminate any choice that has at least one factor. So 9. What is a factor of 9? 3. 3 is a factor of 9. So it's not 9. 17. Is there any factors for 17? How about that? I don't think so. Now, normally I would move on, but just so that way we can understand the idea, let's continue. 25. Well, we have our rule from last time. 5 and 45. Any number that ends with 5 and 0 on the ones place must be divisible by 5. So C and D are out. And all even numbers other than 2 are not prime, because they can just be divided by 2. This can probably be divided by something else, but all we need is one factor to validate our decision. So B is our only choice here. If we got that correct, oh, I forgot to show the solution, step-by-step solution, but you get the idea. If you got that right, good job. If not, here are the videos. Otherwise, happy studying. Okay, let's move on. Which of these numbers is prime? So same thing here. 19. Any factors? How about that? We got none. So that means that 19 must be our answer. Here's the solution. And yes, so we can list all factors, but again, you only need one factor to validate a number is not prime. So even then, you can just eliminate even numbers. Like, just get them out of here. So if you got that right, good job. If not, videos. Otherwise, I'll be saying. So yeah, like 44, 95, like, just get them out of here. Pew pew. Like, you get a 5, you're even. Like, pew pew, get out of here. Alright, now let's figure out A, B, and C. So 9, we distinguish that there's a factor of 3 in the last one, so this one is wrong. 31. Yeah, how about that? There's nothing. So B is right, and 39 over 3 is 13, so it is B. You got the right, good job. Here are the factors. Videos, otherwise, happy studying. Alright, so pew pew, 8's gone. 95, pew pew, get that out of here. Okay, 27. Is 27, does that have a factor? Yeah, factor 9. 9 and 3, so this is wrong. Ooh, 51 and 53. These are numbers that you would think are prime, but one of them is not. So, let's take a look at this. Let's go in a little depth. By statistical chance, numbers that end with 1 are usually prime. So 11 is prime, 31 is prime, 41 is prime, maybe 51 is prime? Who knows? Maybe it could, maybe it couldn't. There could be one number that could go into this. What could it be? 17? Hey, wait a minute, how about that? I think 17 does go into 51. So I think 53 is our prime number here. Yep. So, if you got that right, good job. Otherwise, here are the videos. And happy studying. Next problem. Which of these numbers are prime? Alright, boom. Pew, 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 pew. And 39, we distinguish it from last time. It's a factor of 9. Bada bang, bada boom. That was way too easy. We didn't have to do math that time. 43. Just remember, any number that ends with 5 or an even number, that's just get out of here. Pew, pew. Get out. Okay. Now, okay, here are the videos. Otherwise, happy studying. Ignore that I'm just doing this every time. Some people just like to skip and which is perfectly fine. I'm fine with that. People learn faster than others. So I just always do it. And I'm not impersonating SAT tutor. Okay, so let's see. That's even. Enter 5. I did say last time that 41 is a prime, so this one I know is correct, but just to validate it. Ooh, another thing. If a number has 2 of the same digits in the ones and the tens place, it's going to be divisible by 11 no matter what. D is out. And then 93 is divisible by 3, so 31. So 41's our answer. Here are that. Here are the videos. Otherwise, happy study. And you can always ask me, what are these numbers is prime? Okay, so I know I said that 5, it's just not prime. That's only the case if it's a multiple of 5. So 5 is our answer. So pew, pew, pew. And then 91, I'm pretty sure it's going to be 27. So yeah, that's accurate too. Okay, and it is 5. So very good, very good, very good, very good. Very good, very good, very good. Wait, I said 27. That was my Man, alright, you know what? That's okay. Okay, videos, otherwise happy studying. Okay, great job. We are almost done with this first unit. So, next up, identify composite numbers. Let's take a look at this. Which of these numbers is composite? So with composite numbers, so these numbers are numbers that so basically they have like a bunch of factors. So 3 and 13 are out of here because they are not in the program. And 91 and 79 are also out of here, so it's 53. Oh my gosh. Alright, I will tell you the truth, I actually don't know this. Let me check. More than 2 factors, including one in itself. Oh, okay. It's okay. So, all right. That's self-explanatory. It's the opposite of a prime number. So, we want to eliminate all the prime numbers. So, actually, if we get an even number that's not 2, this time it will be our answer. Same thing with 5. So, it's going to be 4 as our composite number. All right. 3 is prime, 41 is prime, 29 is prime, and 23 prime. I'm pretty sure it's prime. I think 87 is our answer. Yep. Boom. Videos, otherwise I'll be saying. Which is composite. I know I just said that. You know what? There's a 5 right there. Boom. E is our answer. I forgot to do happy studying. Alright. Same thing. 77. That's our answer because we have 2 of the same numbers. So it's over 11. 7, which is, yeah. Okay. Boom. Solution. Videos. Happy studying. Same thing. We got an even number. So D is our answer. There's that. I was studying videos. If you need help, just ask me. And then same thing. We have another 5. D is going to be our answer. We don't even have to look at the other choices. It's that easy. Now, don't predict that your teacher could potentially put these types of questions on the exam, because this could not. Okay, prime and composite numbers. Okay, so. Okay. Camilla tried to shade only composite numbers on the 100 chart. However, Camilla made a mistake. What mistake did Camilla make? Okay, so let's look at potential factors. Alexa, stop. So, 39. What is that divisible 5? 3. So, that means that it's not prime. And 49, what about that one? 7. So, over 7. So, C is wrong as well. So, the answer is A. 29 is prime. So, boom, there's that. And here are all the prime numbers, which is going to be very helpful. So yeah, I was pretty much correct. It looks like the 3s and the 7s really dominate the prime area, and the 1s do as well. So keep that in mind when you're looking at prime numbers. By statistical average, any number that has a 7 in it will probably be a prime number. So just keep that in mind when you are answering these questions. Which of the following describes the numbers shaded on the 100 chart? Okay, so we have the shaded numbers are all prime. The shaded numbers are all composite, and some are prime, some are composite. So let's take a look and see if any of these are prime. So let's see here. I think 43 is a prime number. So let's eliminate composite. And I don't think there's any composite numbers here. I think they're all prime. So A is our answer. So here's that. Here's all the primes under 100 in case you didn't take that in already. So, yep, there's that. And it's not going to give me the videos. That's awesome. Well, okay, anyways, happy studying. Is each number prime or composite? So 2, that's the only even that's prime, okay? Only even. Now, I'm going to star that. The only even that's prime. Okay, 39, that's divisible by 3. So we have 13. This is a composite. And now 93 is divisible by 3. So we have 31 here. So this is also composite. Check, and bada bang, bada boom. So yeah, but don't here. My suggestion is don't memorize this table. I mean, I guess it can be good to know if you're planning on doing math competitions one day, but if it's just for math class, like you don't need to memorize it. Like you just have to just understand that you need to have a factor for it to be prime. So Elliot tried to shade only prime numbers on the hundreds chart. However, Elliot made a mistake. So there's so many obvious prime numbers he missed. 3, 5, 7, 17, 11. It's, man. Oh, wait, that's not what I was asking. Okay. Anyways, let's see what we got here. It looks like 33. Okay, we're looking for the composite number here. 33. It's 33 over, well, any number that has doubles. So this line right here, actually, that will not be prime. And I know I drew that really bad. Okay, so 33 is composite. It's not prime. And yep, that's our step-by-step solution. And yep, I'll just show this one more time. Go ahead and screenshot it. Do whatever you need to. If you absolutely want to, you can memorize it. But anyways, happy studying. Okay, we only have one more thing to learn. This is the last thing, prime factorization. So enter your answer as a product of prime numbers, like 2 times 3, or as a single prime number, like 17. So, okay, prime factorization. Oh my gosh. I'm stupid. Okay. Alright. Okay, so. Alright, got it. Okay, so. So, what are we doing here? What's the plan? Well, we are finding potential prime numbers in a composite number. If the number is already prime, we're leaving it as is. However, if it has factors, we need to find the prime factors of these. So, if it's a prime number, we can leave it as is. Nothing to do here. But if it's not prime, we have to figure out what to do if we want to get these problems. So it looks like 43 is a prime number. I'm going to go ahead and put that down. 43. Okay, yes. So, yeah. That's as is. Okay, 75. So we need to start breaking into chunks. So we know it's divisible by 5. Only problem is we need the answer this time. So we have 5 and 15. And now we need, but 15 is not prime. We need to break that down. So how can 15 be broken down into prime numbers? 5 and 3. So 5 times 3 must be equal to 75. So that we're going to put that in. 5 times 3. Boom. And that's just how it works. You're just breaking it into anchors. So we have 19. Is 19 have a factor? Nope, it's not. So we have to do this. If you got that right, good. Otherwise, here are the videos, and happy studying. What's the prime factorization of 64? So we have 6, 4, and I know that's divisible by 8. 8, 8. So we have 8 and 8, and I know that's also divisible by 4 and 2, and 4 and 2. So this one's actually going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. You're going to multiply 2 6 times. Oh, it's a lot. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a lot. I know. It's math. Welcome to math. Okay, ready? Okay, what is the prime factorization of 31? I think 31 is a prime, so we don't have to do a single thing. Okay, boom. Happy studying. Here's the videos. And if you got that right, good job. Okay, last problem. And then we do the second quiz and then the unit test. And that'll wrap up this episode. So, prime factorization of 30. So I know that 30 can be divided by 10. And you want to do big factors. Like, try to find big factors if you can, but it doesn't matter if you can do 5. So we have 10 and 3. Good. So we have 10 times 3. So 10 times 3. What? Oh, I forgot to simplify this further. So 10. What is 10? 5 and 2. Yes. That's my fault. So there's that. Okay. So yeah, maybe you don't trust the high score. Okay, anyways, okay, here's the videos, otherwise, happy studying. Okay, 5 times 2 times 3. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, now it's time for...
In this video, I want to do a...
No, shut up. Okay. Alright, let's do a quiz, alright? Alright, I'll give you some... Go ahead and pause this video to try to think about an answer, and then I will resume it when you're ready. Answer's 47. If you got that right, good job. The answer is C. If you got that right, good job. The answer is 91. If you got that right. Oh my gosh. That's so embarrassing. Okay, 7 and 13. If you got that right, good job. The answer is A. If you got that right, good job. Answer is 31. If you got that right, good job. Alright, I'm just going to try that again just for myself. So you can skip this part, but if you need more practice, then go ahead. Let's do it together. Okay. Alright, next problem. Answer is B. Good job. Answer is 7 times 13. If you got that right, good job. Answer is C. If you got that right, good job. Answer is 73. If you got that right, good job. If you should have gotten these answers, if you got that right, great job. Alright, now I want you to take the unit test, and this will be our last thing we do for this episode, and then we will continue off with our next episode. So, here we go. Answer is C. If you got that right, good job. Answer is... Cause like I'm naming them off the spot, so like I'm kind of just taking some time. Okay, answer is 3 times 2 is 3 times 2. If you got that right, good job. The answer is B. If you got that right, good job. The answer is C. If you got that right, good job. The answer is A. If you got that right, good job. The answer is D. If you got that right, good job. The answer is C. If you got that right, good job. The answer is 97. If you got that right, good job. The answer is B. If you got that right, good job. The answer is C. If you got that right, great job. Happy studying. Okay, that concludes our episode. Look at that. We have mastered the first unit of pre-algebra. So, for our next unit, we...
Let's say that
Oh,
today.
shut up. Okay, so that is very exciting. We managed to master this entire unit. Like, that is really awesome. Our next episode, we will do patterns. So, let me actually just see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 episodes will cover over this chapter, and then, if you absolutely want to, you can go ahead and stick around and do Algebra 1 and beyond. Anyways, I'm Landon Pitts. I was your tutor and mentor today, so I hope you had a great time. Goodbye.